Friday, January 1st, and I am back for my stitching update. It has been 3 weeks since my last one, so I hope you have all been well and you've been stitching and creating and making all of the things. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. This is a video podcast about cross-stitching and sometimes quilting. However, if you are not interested in seeing the quilts, I do show those in the second half of the video, and I let you know in plenty of time that they will be making an appearance so that way you can go on to the next Flosstube video. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. So hello, how are you? How have you guys all been? It has been 3 weeks since I last did an update video. I did do a video a week ago that showed what was in the mocking basket of whips, the heckling drawer of kits that I had been working on during 2020. And then I showed my New Year, New Start and my plans for 2021. But as far as like an update, it has been since the middle of December since I did one. And the reason why I'm back so soon is because I noticed that a lot of my videos for 2021 were going to come up against some holidays. So I thought I would sort of realign when they were coming out and also sort of have a fresh new palette, I guess. Sort of like to start the new year off right. So today is January 1st. It is the first day of a brand new year. I am very excited for this coming year. I think it's going to be a really fun stitching year. Before I go any further into my video, I did have to address something. I think there was a little bit of confusion in my last video. A small percentage of viewers somehow mistook what my 2021 plans were. So, like I said, I had showed what was in the mocking basket, and that's sort of like a way to show what was still in there, had I added anything in, had I taken anything out, and then I showed what I had been kitting up over the year, and then I showed the New Year, New Start, and then my plans. But unfortunately, a small group thought that everything I showed in my video, all the whips, the kits, that was my 2021 plans, and that I was challenging myself to finish everything by the end of the year, which, let's be honest, that would be amazing. And I would be a very happy camper indeed if I was able to finish every single thing. But what I was surprised at is some of the comments I got, some of the messages I got, and they were very harsh. And it actually took me 3 days to figure out why I was receiving all of these messages and why people were being so negative about it. And then when I realized that that's what they thought, I did go and I listened to my video to see if like my mouth had run away from my brain and I had announced it. But I didn't. So I'm assuming they must have stopped watching my video halfway through before I showed this book, which I opened up to this page and I showed what my plans were for the new year and how I was going to approach my stitching, which is just to have a heck of a lot of fun. So I just kind of wanted to set the record straight. And also I leave my email address in the description box, and I leave it there in case somebody watching it has a question. And it's kind of, a lot of people like myself, I watch on my TV, and this way you can just kind of pick up your tablet, computer, phone, and you can just send me an email if you have a question. I don't leave it in there so that you can send me essentially hate mail. So if it continues and I find that I still am getting, people who are going to, send me these messages, I'll stop. I'm going to take it off of all my videos and I won't offer it up as a way to contact me anymore. So I want to remind everybody to just please be kind. I am a person just like you. This is my hobby. I love it. I enjoy doing it. I love it. I love and enjoy doing these videos, and I want to be able to keep doing it. And I don't want to have to always be on my guard, because basically the way that I do these videos is I do it so, like if we're sitting down across the table from each other and we're stitching together, or if my grandmother might watch, or my nieces and nephews. Sometimes they do watch my videos as well. So I try to keep it a very happy, positive place. And I don't even know what to say. I mean, let's say I did announce to the world that I was going to challenge myself to do all of those. I mean, who cares? It's stitching. If I want to challenge myself to do something like that, I totally will. But it was very hurtful, and I realized that as doing these videos here on YouTube, I mean, it is a public platform. You do have to have a little bit of a thick skin, but I wasn't prepared. I mean, of all the videos I ever do, I just was not prepared for any of that. I was just very surprised, and it just really bummed me out. So I just thought I would set the record straight. I'm not planning on stitching every single thing that I showed in that video. I am going to stitch some of it for sure. And like I said, I'm just planning on having a heck of a lot of fun stitching and quilting this year. So I just wanted to get that out there. I'm not mad at anybody. I just wanted to, I could not. I actually struggled with doing this video today. I really didn't want to, because I just had such a, I don't know, just a kind of a negative outlook. And I was like, do I really want to do this? Why am I doing this? And the simple answer is, I make these videos because I love this hobby so much, and I want to share that with my friends. So anyway, let's move past that and let's talk about some stitching. So, January 1st, it's a brand new year. I am so excited to begin. I have a lot of great projects lined up, and I finished a lot of great projects. At the beginning of 2020, I had set the goal to stitch my Anniversaries of the Heart. I had started on January 1st, 2020, and I finished it on Tuesday night. So this past Tuesday night, so that would have been the 29th of December. I finished on the 29th of December at 9:07 p.m. And I was absolutely ecstatic. I finished it with a few days to spare, and it was the most fun. It was the most fun I had had stitching anything or making or creating anything ever. And so thank you to everybody who cheered me on along the way. And so many of you guys have made the Anniversaries of the Heart your new year, new start for this coming year. And that is awesome. And I am so glad that I now get to cheer you guys all on too. I also finished Brian's stocking. And so I think I had it finished in my last update video. It took me about a week to work up the courage to fully finish it, and then I did. So I was able to get that done. And then I had shown you the start I had made on the Brenda Gervais, Mary, and MInty, and I was able to finish that. So I finished off the year with 3 projects, and it was really fun. And so I'm able to go into the new year. I have essentially a blank slate, except for Olga's stocking, but and I'll show all of that here momentarily. But in a sense, I did have a blank slate in which to create from, and so I had already been kind of thinking about my stitching plans for January. And I had a question from my last video. Somebody had asked, instead of spending so much time planning, I should stitch instead. So I thought what I would do is kind of talk a little bit about how I approach my, why I make a sort of a stitching plan. So when I am thinking about stitching, it's usually when I'm quilting and when I'm long arm quilting, because what happens is basically I'm just taking the same pattern and I am just stitching it on someone's quilt. And so my brain sort of goes into autopilot, and then I just kind of start thinking about how, what do I want to stitch and when do I want to stitch it, and, how do I think things are going to work best for me. And so it's not like I sit down and I'm just, like sitting there for an hour thinking on it. I'm usually doing other things when I'm washing the dishes, when I'm driving in the car, that's usually when I am just kind of thinking about things. And for me, making a stitching plan helps me stay sort of structured. I work better when I have a little bit of structure. For instance, the past 2 weeks, I haven't had much of a schedule. And so I've been a little bit off my game. When Christmas break hit, I thought, well, I've got 2 full weeks. I can do my own quilting. I can do a bunch of stitching. I can do all of this stuff. And I didn't do any of it. So I was a little bit bummed, but I think it was because at some point I had sort of gotten off my schedule a little bit. And I think once Ethan starts back into school, I'll sort of be able to kick back into my old schedule and be able to get a little bit more productive. But I've been a little bit lazy over the past couple of weeks. I did have a tiny little bit of haul over the past couple of weeks. I had pre-ordered the Winds of Autumn by Blackbird Designs, and it came, I think it's been here about a week and a half now. I've been looking forward to this book ever since they announced that it was going to be released. Every single project in it is just so wonderful. I want to stitch it all. I love it. I'm most excited about this little drum here, the October 31st drum. I think that's going to be the perfect small. And yeah, I was really excited when I got the notification from the post office that it was on its way. All right, so as you can see from behind me, I have changed out my decor since my last video. I put all of the Christmas decorations away, and I redecorated my seasonal tree with a winter theme. And the quilt behind me has been swapped out for my Long Time Gone quilt by Jan Kingwell. The quilt that was hanging there prior had Christmas trees on it, and a lot of people wanted to know what it was called. And that quilt was called Toll Christmas. It is spelled T-O-L-E Christmas by Gina Martin, and it's available as a free pattern on the Moda website. I don't know if it's the Moda Bake Shop, but I do know it's on the Moda website, and I will do my best to link it down below. This quilt that's hanging behind me has, I don't think you guys have seen it since May. I think that's when I swapped it out. This is one of my absolute favorite quilts ever. I mean, there's Hocus Pocusville, and then this one is a very close contender for first place. So let's talk a little bit about what I have been working on. After I finished my Anniversaries of the Heart, I had about 2 hours. If you're new here, how I approach my stitching every day is I stitch for 2 hours, usually from 9 to 11. It is a habit that I have had ever since my kids were little, and I was learning how to do hand embroidery. It was a great way to sort of decompress after a long day of being a mom. And it's a habit that I've just continued to have, and it's a great way for me to sort of just decompress, listen to a little TV, and just stitch. So I picked up Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. This was a stitch along that started back in the fall. It is hosted by Christy from Crosshatch Quilts and Lori Holt from BMI Bonnet. And you would think, I cannot remember what the hashtag is, so I will scroll it down below. I don't remember if it was Christy's name that was first or Lori's, and you would think that I would remember, but I'll just scroll it down below. As far as I know, it is an ongoing stitch along. I know that both of them have finished, but there's still a lot of people doing it, and I had somebody ask if, because they were wanting to start it, is it still ongoing? And as far as I know, it is. I'm going to keep working on it until I have it finished. My hope is maybe to have it finished by next fall or before next fall, so I have time to get it framed. But as far as I know, it is, and I'll ask Christy when I talk to her next time, but I'm pretty sure it is. These are the threads that I am using. I am using some of the called for and then some of the not called for. If I didn't have that particular, if I didn't have the particular called for in my stash, then I just made sure I picked something that was of the same color family. And here is my progress. So I was able to finish the words Feast of Friendship, and then I ended up working up where there was some leaves in the fruit basket. Not a ton of progress, but hey, every little bit helps. I'm stitching this on a piece of 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus with 1 thread over 2. And I love it. Next up is Olga's Autumn Stocking. I'm stitching this with Yvette. We started our stockings back on September 28th, which was a Wednesday, and she is our Wednesday stitch. We ended up sort of stopping at the beginning of December because she wanted to get some things done and I wanted to get some things done, and we both ended up finishing what we were working on, and so we picked her back up again on Wednesday and Thursday. And so she will remain a Wednesday stitch. We have kind of set a goal for ourselves in finishing her. I think right now it stands at, we're hoping to finish her by March 31st, and we will reevaluate at the end of the month and see how far we've gotten and what we might need to do to sort of add, you know, if we need to add more time into our stitching or, you know, what have you, because we do plan on, when she is done, we are going to be stitching on Reverend Gordon Squash Bottom. These are the called for threads, and I love this color palette so much. So beautiful. And my progress is a little bit, I don't want to, okay, this is what happened. So I picked her up on Wednesday, and I don't know, I was able to finish the top part of the stocking, and then I moved down and I started working underneath the house. And then my plan had been on, well, yesterday, that I was going to stitch on her more of the day, and I didn't. And then when I did sit down to stitch with her, the lighting in this room isn't very good, and I was stitching on her while we were watching movies, and I was sort of struggling seeing her, even though I did have a small portable light. And I was distracted because Freddie was being kind of a stinker, and, you know, and then, yeah. So I plan on hopefully making up for some lost time, but this is as far as I got. I was able to start on the moon, and then I started working on Olga's face. So I will pick her back up next Wednesday, and I will continue working on her on every single Wednesday until she's done. I'm stitching Olga on a piece of 36 count Vintage Pearled Barley with all of the called for everything 1 over 2. And then I have not started this one yet. I had it loaded, ready to go on my scroll frame, and then I remember I had to do my video today, and I was just gonna go ahead and show it in the scroll frame, but you would miss the whole top portion, so I took it out. And I haven't started it yet. It is my weekend stitch, and that is Autumn at Hawker and Hollow. So because I finished Brian's stocking, I was able to pull this one up out of the mocking basket. It will stay as my weekend stitch until it is completely finished. I have really been looking forward to getting to this one. Originally, I was going to start it as soon as Queen of Freedom was finished in May, but I ended up working on Brian's stocking instead, because otherwise I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get it done in time. So this one's just kind of been hanging out, waiting, and as soon as I finished Brian's stocking, I was just so happy that I was finally going to be able to work on it. But then I decided to just work exclusively on my Anniversaries of the Heart so I could get it done. And now, the new year, I get to start this again. So I've really been looking forward to this one. So this is the progress that I had made on it previously. I'm stitching it on a piece of 40 count Vintage Country Mocha with all of the called for DMC 1 over 2. And I love it. And I cannot wait to start. I know I already said it, but I really am so excited to begin working on this one again. When I was pulling the DMC colors, I did make one change. I think that particular block, there is a fancy floss color from the thread gatherer. I think it's amber, but I swapped out something that I thought was pretty close in the DMC. So anyway, in my next video, I'll have some progress on that, and I'll be able to tell you what the color was that I swapped out. Also, another change that I am going to be doing, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but on the barn, there is, yeah, you're not going to be able to see it, but on the barn there is a jack-o'-lantern over the door, and I'm just going to go ahead and just fill the jack-o'-lantern in and make it a pumpkin. I'm going to try to make this piece autumny, and so I will be taking out a couple of blocks and replacing them with 2 other blocks in the series, because that way I can leave it up all autumn, and then Halloween at Hawkburn Hollow will be, so I'll have an autumn piece and then I'll have a Halloween piece. And then I have no progress on this, even though today is January 1st and it is my New Year, New Start, and that is Liberty is Welcome by Plum Street Sampler. I am also stitching this with Yvette. She's already started. She sent me a picture and she is working on the border today. I plan on stitching mine, or starting stitching it later on today, this evening, after I finish editing this video and getting it ready to go onto YouTube tomorrow. So Yvette and I have been looking forward to starting this one since late summer. Yeah, we've just been so excited to start it. So here is my no progress. I have it loaded up, ready to go, and it's Q-Snap. And this is a piece of 36 count I think it's Heartland. I'm pretty sure it's Heartland. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it is. Yep, Heartland. So 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus. I will be stitching it 1/2 with the called for DMC. I'm going to keep Liberty's Welcome in my rotation until it is done. So hopefully when next we meet, I will have a bit of progress to show you. Here is the DMC. I have it all on these. These are technically gift tags, but I just punched a hole in them so I could hang my thread on them. So I've got them all nice and neat and pretty and ready to go. Now let's talk about what I finished. In my last video, I showed you progress on MInty by Brenda Gervais, and this is my finish. I opted not to put the poinsettia border. When I was stitching on it, I just saw this as a small pillow for the trench bowl, and I think the poinsettia border, I might actually stitch that separately and have that in the trench bowl by itself, because it's a set of 3 poinsettias, and I don't know, I kind of like them just sort of by themselves. So I think that's kind of what at some point this year I might stitch just that little bit and then make it into a small pillow like this one. I had a lot of fun stitching it, and yeah, I just finished it into a little pillow. I used some homespun from my stash, and then I attached a little safety pin, and I had this little prim star that was sent to me in a Christmas card. And I thought, that's perfect. I'm going to put it on there. So fun. Such a fun little finish. And then I know I've posted this on Instagram and Facebook, but here is Brian's stocking. I went ahead and the book has been put away, and I should have kept it out and grabbed it, and I realized about 30 seconds ago that I had forgot to grab it. But this is Victorian Father Christmas by Stony Creek Magazine. It is the summer 2015 issue, and it's still available on the Stony Creek website, and I will put a link directly to it down below. So I had a lot of great suggestions for tutorials. I ended up kind of going rogue, and I didn't use any of the tutorials because I decided that I wanted to have the stocking fully lined. So the first thing I did is I found this fabric that was in my stash. I think it was a Debbie Mum fabric, and I've had it in my stash for probably 10 years. I did a crosshatch motif on it. And then I wanted Brian's stocking to be fully lined. So, and I wanted the lining to be attached. So this is the lining. And I basically treated the stocking as if I was making like a quilted bag or something like that. And so that is the lining. And he picked it out. It's just something else that I had in my stash. In fact, it was leftover backing fabric. But I decided that because Allison and Ethan's stockings are also fully lined, and I wanted there to be a way that I could protect the stitching completely. And I know that some of the tutorials have you put some interfacing on the back, which there is interfacing on the back of this. But I wanted to go a step further because I was worried that over time that interfacing would get torn off. And I thought the best way to not have to worry about that is to go ahead and line the stocking. And at first it was a little bit nerve-wracking, especially when I was cutting the stocking out. But by just sort of approaching it as if I was doing a purse or a bag, it made it a little bit easier, and I was able to get it fully finished. And he loves it. And it was a lot of fun having it hanging out. And I mean, it is kind of sad that I have to put it away. I've spent so much time with it over the past year, but I was afraid that if it got left out and, you know, it would get lost. So it is, I had to go pull it. It accidentally got put away, and I had to go pull it out of the bin it was in. So I'll make sure to put it back so it's with the other stocking. It was a lot of fun. I've had a lot of people ask when I will be making a stocking for myself. And I don't know that I will this year, but I think maybe next year I might spend this year kind of searching. I'm looking for a stocking that has a house on it because I love houses, and I feel like that's a good representation of me, because Brian's stocking has Santas and he loves Santas. He collects Santas. And I was trying to think of all the things that I love, and I decided that in everything that I'm planning on stitching, everything that I have stitched, the one thing that I love most is stitching houses. So I'm going to try to take the next year and just kind of search and see if I can find a stocking that has a house or a church or something like that. I did find some on the Stony Creek website, and you know, it's just something I'll think about. And then next year, I think I will start my own stocking. I'm still holding out hope that my original stocking that I had when I was a kid will somehow make its appearance. I know that is very unlikely, but I figure I'll give it another year, and then in the fall sometime I will then make the decision on making my own stocking. All right, so I saved my very last finish to show you last because it means the most to me. And I did show it on Instagram and I did show it on Facebook, and thank you so much for the kind comments. It has been an absolute labor of love working on it. I am planning on having it framed very soon. I know earlier on I talked a little bit about doing a video where I show each block individually, and then I show who it was intended for, you know, with pictures or you know, that kind of stuff to kind of tell the story of the anniversaries. And I'm still planning on doing that. I think that's something I'm gonna start working on next week. I definitely want to do it before I have it framed, because I am gonna have it framed behind glass just to kind of help preserve it a little bit, because my hope is that as it makes its journey through the generations, having that piece of glass on it will protect the stitches. But here it is. Here is my Anniversaries of the Heart. So I finished this Tuesday night at 9:07 p.m. and I was a little bit in disbelief because I was just kind of going. I was watching Flosstube and just kind of lost in my own little head, and before I knew it, it was done. And it's been an absolute amazing journey. I learned so much about my family. And if anybody's on the fence and they're like not sure if it's something that that they want, that they do want to do it, but they're just not sure, I would highly recommend that you do it because it was an amazing journey. If you want to, research your own family tree, I used a website called familysearch.org, and I was able to get some dates. I knew the names of the people that I wanted to put in here, but on the dates I was a little bit unsure of. But it's been such an absolute labor of love, honestly. I had the very best time working on this. And I'm so excited that so many of you guys were inspired to start an anniversaries of your own. Thank you so much to everybody who decided to begin the journey with me in 2020. A couple of you guys finished, and your anniversaries are absolutely breathtaking. And it's been so much fun. I mean, in this journey, I was able to meet some new Stitchy friends, and it was so much fun. It really, really is. And I know that there is a whole bunch of you that are doing it, and so my hashtag that I used was BB Anniversaries 2020. And so the new hashtag that those that are beginning the journey for 2021 is BB Anniversaries 2021. So if you want to join in, if you're like, I don't know, do it, because it has been just such an amazing journey, and you will have the best time. You really will, especially as you just sort of watch it unfold and just come to life. It is so much fun, and I highly recommend it. And let me know that you're doing it, because I want to be able to cheer you on. So here it is one more time. I'm sorry about the tree behind it. It's starting to get dark out because it's been raining all day, and so there's a really dark cloud out. But I'll put a picture of this in the end. But thank you. Thank you to everybody who cheered me on along the way. You guys are the absolute best, and I appreciate it more than you will ever know. Now, a couple of questions that I do get about this. The main one is the size of fabric that I used. So I stitched mine on a piece of 35 count sand, and it is 19 and a half by 27 and a half. I purchased it from a place called Willow Fabrics, and I will make sure to put a link down below. It is over in the UK, and it actually came as my husband, Brian. He was the one who actually, he found the website and he purchased several pieces of fabric for me, and this was just one of them. It was the perfect size for what I needed, and so that's why it ended up being on the 35 count sand. I did stitch it 2 over 2, unless it was 1 over 1 in some of the places. But it was 2 over 2. I stitched it with a ton of various DMC, Gentle Arts, Weeks, Classic Colorworks, whatever, if I didn't have the called for, or even in some cases if I did have the called for but it was not showing up on the fabric, what I did was I looked at the picture of the pattern or of the chart, and that's kind of how I did mine. So I would stay within the same color family, except for the few of the blocks I might have changed, like the flowers or even the house itself. It just kind of depended on my mood when I got ready to start it. But I would say that, if you're trying to reduce the cost, I would say to pull from your stash. Just use DMC. A lot of this is DMC. It is. And because, my stash isn't a large stash. I did have some, but probably for 80% of it, I had to use a lot of DMC, and then some of the, as I was finishing other projects, I would use some of that floss too, or I'd even go pull it and use it if I felt like it, went in the block. So I would just say be very creative. Don't be afraid to play with colors, and just have fun. And please let me know that you're doing it, because I do want to be able to follow your journey and cheer you on too. So, okay, so as far as all of the cross stitching goes, that is all I have to show in this video. I thank you for stopping by today. I really do appreciate it. I think I hit 8,000 subscribers over the past couple of weeks, which absolutely blows me away. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you. Thank you. I do plan on having a giveaway in my next video because it will be my second Flosstube anniversary. So come back and, help celebrate with me. I am going to talk a little bit about quilting. So if that's not something that you're interested in hearing, or, it's just not your cup of tea, this is a great stopping off point, and I will be back in 2 weeks. And I hope you have a great one and Happy New Year. And if you do want to see what I've got coming up quilting wise, just stick around. All right, so I have to be 100% honest and tell you that I thought, so I have 3 quilts that are sitting on my quilt machine that are my quilts. And I finished all my client quilts. There's only one that is still here, and that's because it's waiting for thread. And then on Monday, I have more that's coming in. I think I have 6 coming in next week. And my plan had been that while I didn't have anybody's quilts that I needed to get done, I was going to quilt on some of my own stuff. So I have 3 quilts, and then I have a couple of table runners that I was planning on doing. I should have been able to do that in 3 weeks, but I did not. And I think that what happened was I might have got a little burnt out. I was doing, I was quilting, and I think I might have burnt myself out a little bit because I didn't even sew any. I have I think 5 quilts that I have been kitting up, and I could have started 2 of them, and I was planning on starting 2 of them, but yeah, I'm a little bit mad at myself, and at the same time, I'm not surprised because I sort of had a feeling that I was going to burn myself out because I was so focused on getting all of those quilts done and back to their people that I forgot to take a little bit of time for myself. So my plan is, right now, the dungeon is a disaster area. I do have to go kind of clean it up this weekend. And my hope is that maybe Sunday I will be able to go out there and begin quilting my own quilts because they're all ready to go. I have the batting, I have the backing, it's ready to go. I should be able to go out there and begin doing that. And so that I absolutely have to make that happen this month because those quilts have been waiting. They've been waiting for several months now. So that is my absolute, I have to do it. But right around Christmas, I think this was before Christmas. I was tagged in a post by my friend Retha, and Retha is like my best friend, and we do a lot of quilting adventures together. We always have the best time doing it, and she tagged me in a post that I think it was either on the Fat Quarter Shop, it must have been the Fat Quarter Shop's Instagram, and it is the Best Friends Quilt Along, and it is with Lori Holt of BMI Bonnet. It starts on January 7th, and it is making a quilt using, so I couldn't print off the information on my computer, so it's on my computer, and I'm just making sure I give all of the correct information because I'm not, if you're interested in doing this, I don't want to confuse you. So the stitch along starts on January 7th, and it is made using these paper piecing. So this is the economy block. Let me just show you what it is. So it's foundation paper pieced. And I'm going to be using fabrics from my stash. This is Courthouse Steps is the other one. And these papers are available on the Fat Quarter Shop's website. And I'll put a link to each one down below in case you're interested. This is the pineapple block, which I love the pineapple block. And I know this one's going to take a little while because I remember the pineapple block. There were 16 of them for a long time gone. And we started it the day we started the sal for this one. And I finished all 16 of them right before the sal ended. That's how long it took. But they're beautiful. And then the last one is the log cabin. So I purchased as soon as my friend showed, or as soon as Retha tagged me in it, and then I went to the Fat Quarter Shop website and I was able to see what the quilt looked like, I knew I had to do it because it's a beautiful quilt. I'm going to do it with fabric from my stash, so it'll kind of have this same like color palette, because I'm just gonna be like, I like this combination, let's go. And that's kind of how I approach this one, and then the mystery quilt that I did earlier in the year. But it starts January 7th and it goes 5 weeks, so it ends on February 4th. So I'm really looking forward to it. I will put a link to, because right now I am on I think I'm on their blog. Yes, I'm on the Jolly Jabber blog. So I will put a link to what I'm looking at right now, so that way if you're interested, you can go get all the information. It talks about the fabrics that you'll need. I'm just going to use the fabrics from my stash, because I feel like this type of quilt is very stash friendly. So it'd be a great way if you have a big stash, and I would just say go for it. Throw your stash at it and make yourself a pretty scrappy quilt. So I plan on starting that on the 7th, so hopefully I'll have those blocks to show you in my next video. And then I also got a little bit of happy mail, which this totally made my day. I got from Cindy. She sent me this beautiful card. And she had contacted me a while back and said that she had the pattern from the Temecula Quilt Company. She had this block of the month, and I thought it was just the patterns. And I love Temecula. I love everything that I love their quilts. I love their quilts. All scrappy reproduction, Civil War. I love it. And so she said, she asked if I would be interested in it, and I was like, yes. And I was thinking it was just the patterns, but it was actually all of the blocks. So this is what the quilt looks like. It's absolutely a gorgeous quilt. And here is the fabric for the first couple of blocks. And she sent me all of the whole entire kit. So this batch of fabrics makes all of these blocks. And I had intended on starting it before Christmas, and I never was able to get around to starting it. And there is fabric. So this is one that I do plan on starting and making as the year goes on. I haven't quite figured out how, because I do want to try to get it done. I don't want it to take the full year, but I do want to try to get it done by summer. So I need to kind of work out sort of a good schedule so that I am able to make that goal. So you'll be able to watch my progress as I go. And this came on just the best day. It was one of those very challenging, I just want to go to bed kind of days, and it came, and I can't tell you how many times I've been through this box. I just absolutely love it, and absolutely blown away by her generosity. And she's actually getting ready to mail me a quilt to quilt for her, so I cannot wait. And there's this one. And this group here, which I love all of these fabrics. This is going to be like the perfect summer quilt. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I don't remember if I showed this one. And then those, I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you, thank you. I'm always so blown away by the generosity of everyone. Everyone is just so kind, and yeah, I feel like this definitely represents friendship because, thank you. I love it. I cannot wait. And one other thing before I go, there is a block of the month that I will be starting. I signed up for it back in June. I've never done a block of the month through the Fat Quarter Shop. A lot of my friends have, and this quilt here was a block of the month from the Fat Quarter Shop a couple of years back. And I've never done one, but a lot of my quilting friends do, and I've quilted a lot of the quilts that have come from those. And I just happened to go on one evening in June or July, and I was searching for I was looking for Civil War reproduction fabric for a project I was working on, and then this block of the month popped up. And the block of the month is a quilt by Pam Buddha, and I think it's called Forevermore. I think that's the name of it. Let me check. Yeah, so the quilt is called Forevermore, and it's by Pam Buddha. So I went ahead and I signed up for it. Pam Buddha's she's a reproduction fabric designer. She creates beautiful fabrics, and when I saw it popped up, I signed up right away. And so I've been waiting patiently these past 6 months, and anytime now, I know I'm gonna get the notification to pay for it, and then it'll be on its way, and I cannot wait. That's gonna run for the entire year, and my the color palette that it is, I feel like it would be a really great wintry. It's not a wintry quilt per se, but I think that it will look good next year hanging up. So Long Time Gone probably won't come out till March, because my hope is the new quilt will be hanging there a year from now. So hopefully, but I'm really looking forward to starting that. Somehow this year ended up being a block of the month year, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun quilty wise, because one of the quilts that I also have that I have the background for it and a couple of fabrics for the blocks. It used to be a block of the month, so I think 2021 is going to be a block of the month kind of year, and I'm really excited. It's been a long time since I've been this energized about my quilting, and I'm so glad that I decided to embrace what I really, really love, and it's opened up this whole other world, and so I cannot wait. So guys, that brings me to the end of my update video. I, of course, will be back in 2 weeks, and I hope you have a very happy new year. I hope you have some awesome plans for this coming year. And if you don't, that's okay. But I thank you so much for stopping by today. Thank you so much for subscribing, for being the best subscribers ever. I so appreciate it so much. I can't wait to see the trouble we're going to get up this year in our stitching and our quilting. If you do that, or in knitting, or whatever makes you happy. So if you want to know what I'm up to in between videos, you can always follow me on Instagram. I'm Pumpkin Hollow Quilts. I do have a Facebook page, which is Pumpkin Hollow Quilting. I'll put a link to those both down below. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I will leave that also down in the description box down below. So, as always, thank you so much for stopping by today, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.